What's happening, people? Welcome back to the show. We have a Shankly Sessions here for you, a drive time one as well. On the way into work, it's early on Sunday. WWE live in town tonight in the 3 Arena, so we're open today for all you fans. Come in, get merchandise and stuff like that. But do a little quick Shankly Sessions here. We're going to reflect on the Brighton game, but we'll also have to talk about in context with the Arsenal game as well as the Man City game, and where everything lies based on that. So if we start with the 12:30 kickoff yesterday, Arsenal against Newcastle. Newcastle winning 1-0. An absolute phenomenal header from Alexander Isak. What a ball in as well from Anthony Gordon as well. Put it on a sixpence for him. Fantastic goal. But the narrative really isn't about Newcastle and how well Newcastle did, although it should be. It's really about Arsenal and how poor Arsenal are looking at the moment, and looking really, really poor, looking really, really blunt, looking void of confidence, you know, and there's talk of injuries, you know, and they've had a lot going on this season, number of red cards and all. They've had decisions going against them, and you can understand some of the frustration, because then those same decisions and follow-up matches don't happen with other teams and all that, and they're just looking for a bit of consistency. And listen, this is the norm in this league. This is what happens. We know the officiating is in the mud, that the refs are absolutely trash, that more often than not they get it wrong. They always start out the season with an agenda. We're going to be clamping down on this and clamping down on that and all that kind of thing. And then what they do is they do it for about 4 weeks, and then they forget it ever even happened. And this happens time and time and time again. We've seen it last year even with decisions for Liverpool, stuff that they were reining in, and then all of a sudden they're not reining it in. But getting back to the game, Arsenal just really lack confidence at the moment, don't they? And it's a real weird one as well, because if you look at the team, with the exception of Martin Odegaard being out, and obviously Calafiori was out, but he's a new player in anyway, but they're really missing Odegaard. And is Odegaard, what is your thinking on this? You've got Declan Rice at the moment. He's trying to be the talisman in there. He's trying to play a 6. He's trying to play an 8. He's kind of a little bit all over the place at the moment. And what's happening is it's leaving the back line a little bit exposed, and is this why they're leaking goals? On top of that as well, we have Arteta with a kind of a, I don't know if it's by design or if it's what he wanted to do, because he's a bit more of a defensive approach this year, isn't he, and stuff like that. But defensive really from the get-go, not defensive even like if you're 2-0 up or 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go, so you throw on a few players, you get defensive, you shut the game down, and you come away with the points. He's doing this even when he's behind, and it's real. It just feels real weird, because it's Arsenal, and because, you know, you look at last season, we were so used to Arsenal being this free-flowing team, scoring loads of goals, you know, beating teams for fun. You've seen that January to kind of March period they were on, January to February period anyway, they were on fire. This is a totally different team this year that lacks confidence. That's, I don't know, is he coaching them in a way where they're getting instruction to be told, this is what I want you to do, and that's all I want you to do, and don't do anything else? And, you know, you have a massive drop off there. Martinelli this year, massive drop off. Trossard, massive drop off. And then you look at the options coming in. You look at yesterday where you're chasing a game, and you think about the amount of money he spent, and you think about how they judged the window in the summer and all, that this was it, they were set up, people calling it 7, 8 out of 10, all this kind of thing. And you look at it now and you think, you're putting on Jesus and you're putting on Zinchenko, so nothing's really changed. And then you look at the players that they brought in, and those players now are beginning to look more like squad players than they are actual players that are going to take you to the next level and push you over that line against Man City. And they just look way off it. Now listen, it's still real early days in the season, and you hear people talking about teams being out of title races and all this kind of stuff. No one's ever out of a title race 10 games in and stuff like that, unless you're way down the table and stuff like that. Now, if results go against them today, Sunday, I think if Spurs win and if Chelsea win, Arsenal could be down in 6th. We've got Nottingham Forest now up in 3rd. And that will be a real bad look. But even being down in 6th, it doesn't change the points differential, which I think is 7. It just means the top of the table is a little bit more condensed. But big problems there at Arsenal at the moment, you know. And who would have known, you know, that a single player like Martin Odegaard going out of the team could have such a shocking effect obviously the 3 red cards that they got have affected the points thing as well. They dropped points in all 3 games. If those red cards don't happen, maybe the table looks totally different. Who knows? But Arsenal just look like they're labouring. I was looking at the game yesterday. They're labouring through the game against Newcastle. And listen, no disrespect to Newcastle. Newcastle have been poor this season. Really, really poor. Nowhere near where the expectations should be. You know, even questions coming in over Eddie Howe as manager and stuff like that, or coach. And I just think, you know, they've been dealing with a lot of talk off the pitch as well. The Saudis talking about they're going to be cutting back on foreign investment and all this kind of thing. And what does that mean for Newcastle? And stories coming out that the Saudis may exit the Newcastle project because it's not moving quick enough, or they're hamstrung in the way they want to do it. Looking at Liverpool, looking at Chelsea, all this kind of thing. So they've all that talk off the pitch that they're dealing with as well. But has the pressure got to Arsenal? Have they cracked under the pressure of this, you know, 3rd season chasing the title against Man City? And if ever there was a season, here's Man City now faltering at the moment, really struggling at times to get over the line, just about getting the job done. Losing yesterday to Bournemouth. What a week Bournemouth have had. Beating Arsenal and beating Man City. Who could have wrote it? What a job Areola's done. But yeah, it's just, if there was ever an opportunity to go and seize the title, this is the way it's panning out. And yet they haven't been able to get it done. So big problems there at Arsenal. A lot of pressure under Arteta at the moment. Inter Milan coming up next, and then I think they have, is it Chelsea then? They're going to be 2 really tough games. It's going to really have to rally the troops. Now, getting on to the City game yesterday, we'll get that out of the way first. What a game that was as well, Bournemouth. Absolutely phenomenal. Beating them 2-0. And we said it in the preview on Thursday night when we did the show. Bournemouth is not an easy place to go to. And it's panning out this way with a lot of these Premier League places that they have to go down in the lower side of the league and stuff like that. They're really, really tough places to go. Look at Southampton yesterday. Everything came into town. Southampton looking like they're absolutely dusted in the league. They dig it out and they get a 1-0 win. Everton unlucky getting a late goal ruled offside or ruled out by VAR. You know what I mean? But this is the state of this league at the moment. Liverpool sitting on top again. 2 points clear of Man City. 7 points clear of Arsenal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Has anyone dropped out of the title race? Can we discuss the title race after this amount of games, really? I don't think so. Let's get on to our game anyway. And our game was an interesting one. What a week we've had as well. Playing back-to-back against Brighton, home and away, in the Cup. And you listen, no matter what team rocks up, Brighton are going to give you a game, aren't they? There's no doubt about it, they're going to give you a game. They're well organised, they're well coached. What a job Fabian Hurstler's doing there. Phenomenal job. Really, really good footballers in the team and stuff like that, when you see it. And they really put it up to us in both games. Make no mistake about it. We got over the line in both games. Great winning in the Cup and continuing our defence of the Carabao Cup and being in the draw. Real favourable draw against Southampton, even though what I just said, not easy going to these places. But Southampton, maybe their priority would be staying in the league when that comes around. But let's see. Then you look at us coming out yesterday. Change side again. Obviously, we had made changes for the Cup game, as you would expect. But yeah, you look at yesterday. We came out first 45 minutes. Game could have been over. Brighton could have scored maybe 3 or 4 first half. We were absolutely terrible. And the goal we gave away. Just explain to me. I'd love to get an interview with Kostas Tsimikas, and I'd love to know what exactly was he actually doing when he was making that run across. What exactly was he doing? Was he expecting the player to cut back and go out wide to sling a cross in or something? Or because he ran a diagonal run, instead of going to block the player and block the shot, he ran away from it and opened up the space. And I was there going, what did he see that none of us else saw? And I was looking at the replay and I still couldn't understand his run. I was perplexed by it. I'd love to know what he was thinking at the time. Genuinely love to know what he was thinking at the time. He was miles off it. It was like the player had sat and set himself for the shot, and he just ran a diagonal. and ran out of the way of the picture and just opened up the goal to the player. Tidy finish, Brighton 1-0 up. Then we were really under the cosh. Like, first half we really never got into it. Our passing was trash, you know. Trent was woeful. You know, really poor first half. You look at McAllister, and I made the comment yesterday, I was in Spider's chat yesterday for his watch along. Don't forget, go check out Spider LFC on YouTube and stuff like that. Absolute gent, cracking channel. But I don't know with McAllister at the moment. Is he playing around? I know he had a groinal issue in the international break, and I know that Argentina had to kind of play around and stuff like that, and just I think he got minimal minutes and stuff like that. Then he came back, but he doesn't look right at the moment. His movement looks very laboured. He looks like he's really struggling. And I'm just wondering, are they playing around this groinal issue that it's, you know, it's not a serious issue, but it's a niggle, and when he moves a certain way, does it kick in or something like that? Maybe I'm wrong and stuff like that, but he looks really laboured in his movement. You know, but it was the same yesterday. We just really struggled. Second half we came out, and what a difference a half makes. And I kind of said it, we were talking in our WhatsApp group, and of course Dino was going crazy, as he always does, because he's Liverpool through and through, you know. And I often say to him, listen mate, relax, it's 1-0, it could have been 3-0. These are going to come out now, we're going to attack the cop, and we're going to have a real go. And that's what we did. And we have Cody Gakpo coming up with the goal. Slightly, I would say, a little bit fortuitous, but we'll take it. And then of course Mo Salah coming up with the winner. Signature Mo Salah goal. I said it yesterday. Gets the ball on the right, cuts in on his left, opens up the space, and far corner, boom. Unsavable most times. He scores these ones for fun, and we end up getting the win. Now after that we were still under the cosh again, because we know Brighton are plucky. They're a good team with good footballers, and they don't give up, and they chase right till the final whistle. So they're always going to be a difficult opponent, and they're very clever in the way they play now. I was surprised that Espenon, the way he the way he kind of moved to open up for that goal for Mo Salah. Normally he's a very good player, but looked a bit leggy, he did. But it was a fabulous result, and it was a result that took us back to the top table. And we were looking at it first half, and we were thinking, Man City are getting beaten here now. Arsenal are after getting beaten at Newcastle. And you know the way every time that kind of door opens for us to step through, and we just sometimes don't take advantage of it. We don't do it. And I was thinking yesterday again, here's this opportunity now, put space between us, and we're going to falter. So I was delighted to get the win when the other two teams had lost. So it was a huge weekend, and you know, potentially a weekend if we do go on, if we were to go on and win the title. And again, I'm not losing my mind about it yet, but if we were to go on and win the title, this will be one of these weekends that you look back on to go, you know, that was a pivotal weekend. But a big win for the Reds, no less. Some big games coming up now. Leverkusen during the week is going to be very interesting. Xavi Alonso coming back to Anfield, really looking forward to that. It's going to be interesting to match up against them as well after last season, to see what it would have looked like, you know, with that Europa final. So really looking forward to that. Hopefully we can maintain, keep our winning streak, keep our winning going in that, and try and get secured into that top 8 or whatever it is. Get that done and dusted so we can rotate, give the boys a bit of a rest and all that kind of stuff, and let's see where that takes us. Then it's on to Aston Villa. Big game. I think our next 2 games are Aston Villa, I think maybe City or something like that, but Aston Villa up next then as well. That's going to be again another big game. Huge game in terms of top 4 and in terms of title race and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a good gauge for Aston Villa to see where they're at and how much they've improved. Obviously playing really well. Stumbled a little bit recently, but generally playing really well. Big test for them today against Spurs. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, quite enthusiastic about this season, but we're going very much under the radar, aren't we? Because we're not really playing well, but we're certainly getting the results and grinding things out and getting it done. We haven't really. It feels like there's a huge ceiling there at the moment for where this team can go. Certainly they're very, very organised. Certainly they're very, very structured. Certainly they're going about their football in a workmanlike way. But there's no bells and whistles on it. Sure there isn't. It's very much the focus is the 3 points and getting the win. The performance tends to be an afterthought. But even listening to Slot after the game yesterday, when he was breaking it down, stuff like that, he's quite precise in the way he breaks things down. He's also quite direct. You know, he doesn't pull any punches when he's talking about how poor we are and, you know, how much we improved. And you could see it yesterday as well, even in the second half. He spoke about how we just upped the intensity and we upped the press. We were sleepwalking through the first half yesterday. Second half, once we upped the intensity and the press, you know, we were forcing Brighton into a situation where they didn't like it. Brighton tend to be a team that's really, really well when they're on the front foot and stuff like that. But if you can get them turned, it's a very uncomfortable situation for them to be in, and not one that they tend to like, as most teams don't. But that's what we did yesterday. Basically, we just got Brighton on the turn with the intensity and the press and all that kind of stuff, and we went hunting more. Showed a lot more hunger than what we did. And even when you look at the stats between the first half and the second half, the difference was absolutely huge. But yeah, delighted to get the win. Roll on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll be back on Monday, obviously, with the Monday matchup with Mark. We'll be talking about Shelbourne as champions in the League of Ireland and all, and how it all went down and stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed the watch along on Friday with myself and Darren. It was a lot of fun. Still laughing about it today, or yesterday I should say. But yeah, we'll be back Monday with the Monday mashup. We'll be back on Wednesday with Pro Wrestling Weekly. We'll be doing a review of Crown Jewel and recap of Raw and everything else, and we might see can we get people on who we're going to the show this evening as well to give us a view on that as well. We might be able to get the results of it and see how we fare with that and all. Then Thursday we'll be back with the normal Thursday tier talk, and it's as you were, and we'll see, we may even cover the FAI Cup next weekend. Also, congrats to my own local club, Bray Wanderers, on making it through to the playoff final against Strada. I would love Bray to come up into the Premier League and follow them next season as part of the podcast and stuff like that. We have spoke about going out and about and doing live podcasts at the games and stuff like that and all, so that would be really handy for me, because it's like 15-minute drive from my house to Bray Wanderers ground and stuff like that and all. Now listen, I do think if they do come up in the Premier League, I don't think there'll be a lot of celebrations and stuff like that and all, but I think it would be a lot of fun to get out there and talk to fans and get right into the heart of that League of Ireland, you know, that fan base. It's absolutely crazy. Marky has sent me a load of videos, so we'll show you them tomorrow night on the show as well. And even the bus going on fire on the way home, Shell's fans bus and stuff pulling over on the M1 coming down from Derry, on fire no less. So plenty to talk about tomorrow night. Do not miss the show. Mark will also be on with me. He'll be talking about ref watch and all that kind of good stuff. And also enjoy the football today. Some cracking football today. You've got Tottenham versus Villa, haven't we? And we've got United versus Chelsea. How far has Maresca taken Chelsea? Let's see where that goes today. But until next time, Reds, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. This has been a match recap. Shankly Sessions, Liverpool 2, Brighton 1, top of the table Reds again. Let's keep this going, Reds, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Cheers.